DP MP Ali has made criminal accusations against the Minister of Justice Gjonaj over the extradition of Nezar Seiti to Italy, though Gjonaj retorts that the move is politically motivated. The PM accuses the opposition of wanting to discuss the vote on Jerusalem to escape the reality of justice reform, while DP Chair Basha claims there is no justice reform since Rama captured the prosecution. The Greek president has spoken harshly against the Albanian leadership over the cham issue, declaring their move to protect the chams a big mistake. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 8th of February 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. The hearing requested with the Minister of Justice Gjonaj regarding the extradition of Nezar Seiti, a suspected financier of the Habilai group, ended with an announcement by DP MP Ali of her intention to deposit a criminal report against Minister Gjonaj for abuse of office. Responding to Alibei's inquiry as to whether or not there was any official request for an investigation into Nezar Seiti, Minister Gjonaj replied that there was not. However, according to Alibei, the Serious Crimes Prosecution Office did make such a request. The Justice Minister should have conducted the appropriate verifications before deciding to extradite Nezar Seiti. She hurriedly extradited him, but in doing so was not respecting the law. The financier of the Habilai gang was the only mouth willing to speak, said Alibei. Minister Gjonaj called the hearing a political assault arising from the fear of justice reform. According to the minister, when two states have criminal proceedings against the same citizen, priority is given to the one that is the most advanced in the stage of the process. I have not been called for a legal debate, but for an ingenuine political motive. You seek a cause that does not exist. For Seiti, the same legal procedure has been followed as in many cases in many previous years, said Gjonaj. This position was rejected by MP Alibei, who said that according to the Code of Criminal Procedure, the Albanian prosecution takes priority and Nezar Seiti should not have been extradited. Prime Minister Edi Rama accused the Democratic Party of calling a motion to discuss Albania's vote at the United Nations on Jerusalem 2 months ago as a further display of their fear of justice reform. Rama said that the Democrats are scared of the vetting process and the new justice bodies. You are scared. Vetting separates you from the USA, declared Edi Rama. In response, opposition leader Rama Basha said that the reform was destroyed as a result of Edi Rama capturing justice and called on citizens to take over their fate. Justice has been captured, but the opposition on the side of the citizens, said Rama Basha. Even former Prime Minister Salih Berisha warned of protests for which, according to him, the Prime Minister is fearful. Where did you hide during the protest on January 27? Asked Salih Berisha rhetorically. After Shkodra and Elbasan, the temporary chief prosecutor Arta Marku stopped in Durrës, where she participated in the annual analysis of the prosecution of this district. As the city with the largest port in the country, this prosecution had a very small number of offences in the field of smuggling. This did not go unnoticed by the head of the accusation body, who demanded that prosecutors engage to identify crimes in the area, not only with referrals that may come from state police or customs. The city of Durrës, as one of the largest port cities in the country, sees few offences in the field of smuggling. We are fully aware that instances of behaviour that violate customs legislation are numerous, and these must be punished. Prosecutors need to engage in identifying criminal offences arising from issues they investigate, rather than being limited to referrals that may come from state police or customs, said Arta Marku. Regarding crimes against life, Marku said that there has been a reduction in such criminal offences, but on the other hand, there has been an increase in the aggression of criminal groups in committing such criminal offences. It seems such perpetrators, in the function of realising their criminal intentions, are willing to sacrifice anyone who happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Clashes in Elbasan between the Chapya and Chela gang families to control the territory forced the state police to perform a massive operation beginning last night and continuing on to this morning. Nearly 200 rapid intervention forces and Renea effectives landed at the University Hotel, property of the Chapya tribe, as well as some other venues under their proprietary. The effectives entered the food market, a property of Petrit Chela, who is a wanted person over a collision with the Elbasan police just a few months ago. 4 people were detained, friends of the Chela tribe, but no weapons were found. The police went to Elbasan to stop the person who wounded a young man Wednesday evening, and the operation continued with the arrest of 5 young men who were charged over mounting remote control mines. Deputy Director of the Elbasan Police, Edmond Sula, said the force of law operation would target the criminal groups there. Earlier, Interior Minister Fatmir Jafai stated that the Chapya and Chela will be the subject of police work. The President of the Republic, Ilir Meta, has decided to open the procedure for the election of 2 new members of the Constitutional Court. The decision was taken as a result of the vacancies created following the resignation of Sokel Berberi and Besnik Imirai. In the decree of the President, it is required that any interested person who meets the criteria submit the appropriate documents. Candidates should have 15 years of work experience as judges, prosecutors, lawyers, professors or law lecturers, employees of high-level public administration with a prominent activity in the field of constitutional law, human rights or in other fields of law. The candidate must not have held any political functions in a party or its administration and must not have had disciplinary action taken against them. In addition to these requirements, they must also successfully pass the verification and controls of assets held by both themselves and family members. Candidates should also be considered popular academic figures. Candidates have to complete an application form as well as the decriminalisation form. The deadline for submission of the documents will be February 22. Currently, the Constitutional Court has 6 members, and it should be noted that in addition to Berberi and Imirai, Vladimir Christo has also resigned. The Greek president has recently maintained a consistent point on the agenda of meetings with counterparts from other states. The head of the Greek Republic is extremely focused on discussing problems with neighbours Turkey, Macedonia and Albania. In a meeting with the Georgian president held at the presidential palace in Athens, it was no exception. The Greek president announced that Greece wants Albania's membership in the EU and NATO, seeming to forget that Albania has in fact been a member of the NATO alliance for the past 9 years. Reiterating that the neighbouring countries should respect international law and European values, such as the right to property and rights of minority, the Greek president then touched on Tirana's request to resolve the cham issue. I believe that Albania's political leadership is making a big mistake in supporting the supposed rights of some Albanians who were collaborators of the Nazis during the Nazi occupation of Greece. We wanting to be a member of NATO and the EU and claiming the non-existent rights of the Nazis, well, I do not believe it shows a serious European perspective. When an alternative attitude is adopted, Greece will be here to help the neighbouring country into the EU, stated the Greek president. President Meta gave a response today in an interview for the Albanian Daily News, stating that the stance of the Greek counterpart does not bring positive energy, explaining, "Of course, there may be certain issues for which we can share different stances, but that does not mean to lose calm in communicating with one another, nor to compromise on comprehensive alliances between our countries." As checks are being conducted on businesses across the country in an effort to curb water abuses, the Prefect of Leja, Gjonaj Prendi, has warned of sackings for any employees of the administration who have unpaid water obligations with the supplier. The employees who have not paid their obligations will be dismissed, announced Prendi. In Vlora, there are some concerns that employees of the water supplier may have conducted themselves in a manner that attributes to an abuse of power regarding the installation of water meters, with such claims currently being verified. "We are taking measures to obtain evidence in all cases where our employees themselves are accused of abuses," said Dorian Jalili, director of the water supply in Vlora. In Lushnia, businesses represent the biggest portion of debt to the water supplier, with 920 subjects owing about 40 million lek. It's negligence that has accumulated over the years that today now represents a relatively large bill, said Seiti Illegally, director of the water supplier in Gjonaj. Gjonaj remains the example city in terms of behaviour with water. Gjonaj is fortunately one city that suffers no significant problems on the supply side. Despite this, we will continue our work on the ground, said the local mayor, Seiti Illegally. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.